Go.
Welcome to Not a Great Whisper. This is your host, Katie Ray. I am here with life coach Laura Juntunen. Did I say it right?
Juntunen.
Juntunen. Damn it. I fucked it up, but it's fine. We're just going to keep it rolling. I'm glad she corrected me with a smile and she didn't give me like dagger eyes. She's wonderful. We met on social media. And I always tell people network, get out of your comfort zone, talk to somebody you've never talked to. I'm so glad to have her here today to kind of talk about her new book and her journey as a life coach. So welcome.
Thank you so much, Katie. I'm so excited.
I know, I'm excited to hear. So let's go to the book. Let's talk about you finishing your book and kind of your journey into life coach. So when did you finish it?
I just finished it about 3 weeks ago and then got it published 2 weeks ago. So,
and the name of it?
Happiless Chokelist. It's available on Amazon.
Love it.
Mm-hmm.
You got it published, you said?
Yes, self-published on Amazon.
Awesome. So what was your journey into that? What made you want to write a book? How did you get into your coaching career?
Well, I was actually a personal trainer and health coach, and I realized that there was a mindset piece that was missing. And so I started working with women on their mindset. And obviously, I'm one person. I can't reach the masses of people. And so I wanted a way to reach a bunch of people all at once. And so a book kind of fell into my mind. I was at a mastermind, and it just came to me. And I wrote it, and that was back in July. So in 4 months, I wrote, edited it, and self-published.
Oh my gosh, tell me about that discipline with that. I want you to motivate me right now.
Yeah, it was, it was intense. It was a long process. Luckily, I had been blogging for a while, and I've always been pretty creative in writing. And so
it was fun.
Stressful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gave myself deadlines, things like that. And since I did it myself, it was hard to keep myself disciplined, especially when I had writer's block and things like that. But I just kept pushing forward because I knew that I wanted people to be able to learn the process that it includes. So
how'd you get the title? Which I think is super unique. So
Thank you. Yes, Happiless Chokelist. So essentially the opposite of a happiness checklist. And I was literally just laying in bed, like, what am I going to call this book? I have the idea, the concept. I had been using the process, and it just came to me, Happiless Chokelist, because the concept behind it is we all have these barriers that are just holding us back, and they're choking us. We're suffocating. And so we want to get past that choking feeling. So instead of being happyless, we want to be happy. And so Happiless Chokelist.
I love that. Yeah. Okay. And you were just laying there and you're like, oh, got it.
Nailed it. It was pretty incredible. And I had to sit up in bed and write it down because I knew I'd forget it.
I know. I have the most random notes in my phone. I was just like, oh, I thought of this. Okay. So what started you on the journey? So when you were personal training, did you notice people's mindset would kind of throw them off track? What kind of got you?
Yeah, I think there was a disconnect between what the world tells you on how to lose weight or eat properly, and they just don't tell you the mindset piece of it. So they say, okay, to lose weight, you have to eat this many calories and work out this many times a day. But if you don't really love it, and if you're not on the right mindset track, it's not going to happen for you. And so people would beat themselves up, and they would feel so guilty about not reaching their goals that I wanted to teach them that mindset piece is key.
So you've paired it both up.
Yes.
Okay. Exactly. So how is that working for you? How is the kind of feedback from your clients?
Well, right now I'm not doing personal training and health coaching. That's more of like a side hobby right now. Okay. But with my life coaching, it's some of them, yes, they are health coaching clients, but they are learning the different mindsets that they can use to get past these barriers. And it's really simple tactics that work for everybody, but you just don't think about it on that scale as often as you might, or often as you should, I guess I should say. So it's kind of like an evolution. So when people come to me, they don't think, oh, I have to change my mindset. We start with something more simple, like drink more water every day or start doing daily habits.
Give them good habits,
right?
Positive
and
habits.
It evolves from there. Yeah,
I love that. And is there anything personal that you kind of went through to get into this like journey that you're at?
Well, I mean, I've never been overweight or anything, but I've had not eating disorders, but just trouble with maintaining just my own goals. I used to be a bodybuilder, so I would compete, and that totally destroyed my mindset around food. And so that was definitely a big factor.
I don't think people realize the pressure. I have a lot of friends that do bodybuilding and stuff, and the pressure of calorie intake and you getting to your goals and the training you do. So how long were you a bodybuilder for?
I did 2 seasons.
Wow.
So the first season was all for me. It was 100%. I'm doing this for myself. It was on my bucket list. And then the second year I was more so doing it for other people. So it was a little bit more difficult. And then after that, I realized if I'm not doing it for myself, then I just want to move on from that.
So you went through the struggle of that to kind of click with your clients now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, where were you before life coaching? Like, were you at a corporate job? Were you somewhere where you kind of had to make that leap into what you're doing now?
Well, I actually went to college for hospitality and tourism. So I've always been into serving. I've always known that service is what I need to do. It's my passion.
People.
And yeah, I'm a people person. So being in the hospitality industry, I was serving people, but I wasn't serving them the right way. And that's when I transitioned to health and fitness. And so I did hospitality for about 5 years, then personal training for about 5 years. And now I've transitioned both of those ways of serving people into life coaching.
So are you like one of those organized people that structures out your day of like what you're doing for that day? And so that when you get like a client, you do that for them? Or is it more like an open discussion where you're helping them be able to manage their own time or something like that?
Yeah, I like to call it spontaneous coaching because everybody's situation is different. And so if they want that structured approach, like tell me what to do at every single time during the day, then I'll go ahead and do that for them. But you should just understand that some people can't do that. And so I try to just kind of spontaneously make it happen for them.
And guide them.
Guide them.
That's good. What's your favorite part about coaching?
Seeing the change and seeing the benefits that they didn't think were possible actually happen for them.
And that's huge on mindset. I mean, yeah, I love that. Okay. So what are some of your goals for this book? Do you want to start doing conferences, speaking events?
Yes. So my long-term goal is to be able to bring this book to college-aged women because those women are the people who can change their life the easiest right now. They don't have kids. They're not married. And so they can really use the concept to drive towards their passions. So these are the people that I want to help because I didn't get that when I was in college. And I thought I had to do I had to follow this certain road. I call it a supposed to girl. So I was supposed to do this. I was supposed to do that. My parents, teachers, society told me what I had to do. And then I woke up and I realized I wasn't actually happy. So I want to help those people before they get to that stage. And I want to do that through talking to different universities, doing events for women in that population, I guess.
Oh, I love that. I think the age you kind of picked with college, it's like you're on your own. You have that chance to kind of turn your life around or like focus on the right things. I think that's a really good start, especially workshop wise. Start at USF, my alumni. But that's great. And give people some encouragement on writing a book. I mean, there's so many people that are like, I need to write a book.
Yeah.
When you knew you wanted to get to the masses, you're like, okay, a book's the easiest way. I've learned this. I'm going to go through with it. But some of the obstacles you faced with writer's block, what's that push you gave yourself? Like, what did you learn in the past that got you up and finishing that chapter or whatever you had to finish? Like, what do you think is one of your biggest characteristics of that?
One of the biggest things I did was not to pressure myself too much. In the very beginning, I was saying how I had to write a certain amount of hours every day because otherwise I wouldn't get it done by the time my timeline hit. And I realized that was giving me too much pressure. I can't sit down and write for 5 hours a day and still have creative energy to keep doing life.
Right.
And so I started telling myself that I had to write a certain amount of words a day. And so it started out with 1,000 words a day, which I could do pretty easily in like 30, 40 minutes if I was on a roll.
Yeah.
And it gradually grew. And in the end, I was able to write 2,500 words a day.
Awesome.
And so if it took me 45 minutes, great. If it took me 5 hours, okay. But still that word count was my goal.
That is, I like the small goals.
Yeah.
So with your health journey too, I feel like some people with bodybuilding or eating disorders or whatever they had like a love-hate relationship with food. So how long did it take you to create a habit that was healthy mindset for food and your workouts and stuff? Because you definitely look fit and healthy.
Thank you.
So it's like, what do you do now that you've noticed has changed drastically since then?
I would say it actually hasn't changed drastically. It's an evolution. And that's what I teach my clients. It's that every single day I still have struggles. And even though I'm a coach, I'm still going to have the same struggles that you have. And it's about the small steps and it's not about the big failures or the big successes. It's just being consistent.
Yeah. And it's never easy. So you've accepted that and you're real. That's huge.
Yeah.
So Did you ever have a life coach?
Yes.
Okay.
I've had some in the past, but I would call them more so mentors.
Okay.
Just because.
Where you are now. In your journey.
Yeah.
I love that. What was probably the most important thing they taught you? One of your mentors?
Well,
you don't have to shout them out. You can just say
right. I think one of the biggest thing was just be authentic, be authentically me. Because when I was searching for these mentors, I was thinking I had to be like everybody else. Again, the supposed to girl. I'm supposed to be posting this on social media. I'm supposed to be doing this to advance my career. And she kind of just sat me down and said, no, just be you. Why are you trying to be something you're not? You're not going to be able to help anybody if you're not being true to yourself.
I love that. So how do you brand yourself now? What's your kind of like value prop to your clients?
Well, my motto is happiness is a choice. And I just believe that because no matter where you are in your life, you can choose to look at the cup half full or the cup half empty kind of concept. And so that's kind of how I go into my branding, is that I want to show people the little happinesses that I find throughout my day, but also be real with them and show them that it's not always butterflies and rainbow.
And
just be real. Yeah.
And I always say like the fake Facebook reel, like this isn't always perfect. That's really cool. What's right now your goal is really like the masses of college women, but you really can help anybody.
Yeah.
Correct? Okay.
Yeah.
And have you had like a different demographic that has come out?
Yeah. So actually when I was writing this book, I did an 8-week test group to have them go through the process. Cool. And I had women from college age all the way up to their 60s in this group. And I do work almost exclusively with women, just because I'm a woman, it's a little bit easier to relate. Yeah. But I had so many different age demographics. And one of the women who had just incredible results with the process is actually in her 60s. And she used the book to break through a barrier. She's going to end up retiring in a few years. And she is figuring out how to eliminate all of her worldly possessions and live in an RV. Mm-hmm. And she used the processes through this book in order to figure out how that's possible. So it's not just for college age women figuring out what they're doing with their life.
Is that in the book?
For anybody. No, it's not in the book. Okay. But she is just such an inspiration. Yeah, it was during the research. Yeah.
That's so cool. And are you guys still friends? So she'll tell you how everything goes.
Yeah, we're definitely close. She just posted on Facebook and she said, I bought your book. I sat down, I read it cover to cover. I said, whoa, slow down. You got to take it a little bit slower than that. But she was just so excited.
I highlighted, I've written an outline.
Yeah, she says, I dog-eared all the pages I needed to go back to, and definitely recommend if you read the book, use dog ears, use highlighters, use a little notebook.
I love that. I'm excited to read it. Thank you for bringing me one.
Yeah.
It's on Amazon. I'm going to keep bringing that up. So what's the hardest part of your day right now? And what is your favorite part of the day right now as a coach?
Well, because I was writing this book and it took up a lot of my time, I really haven't been able to dedicate as much time to finding new clients. So that's the hardest part right now, is just getting back into the swing of things. And so I'm still working a lot on that. But that's also one of my favorite parts too, because I love meeting new people and figuring out what their barriers are and how I can help them. Or if I can't help them, who can I bring you to help you? I'm really big about that. If there's someone who comes to me and I'm not able to help them, I'm going to direct you to somebody I know.
I was just going to say, do you ever have to turn someone away? But not in a way where you're like, I'm not helping you, but in a way like, I'm not sure how to help you through this.
Exactly.
And you're smart enough to be able to do that, which is real as well.
Yeah, especially if you need like a certified helper. If you need to go to a certified therapist or a eating therapist, a dietitian, definitely want to bring you to people who can help you.
An extra step. I get it. Certifications or something. Now, when you did your certification as a life coach, did it focus on anything specific other than health and wellness that you already had, like your certification for personal training? Did you say like, oh, I'm going to focus on, I don't know, like specific parts of life? You know how they like give you like different like subcategories?
Right.
Like, do you have one?
So I'm actually just certified in personal training and health coaching.
Okay, perfect. So you get to make that's what I like.
That's why I created the process, because I had been searching for a life coaching certification that I wanted to put my name with. And none of them aligned with what I knew was true for myself. And that's back to the authenticity. And so I developed this process myself.
You developed your mindset part for your health.
Yes.
Okay. I love that.
I knew if I went and pursued that, it wouldn't be real and I wouldn't be able to help people genuinely. So
yeah, I understand that. I've looked into that too. And I'm just like, what does
Yeah.
that even mean? I love that. So what's some of the like client success stories? Of course, don't bring up your client. It's like don't bring up who it is.
Right.
But one of your favorite like aha, other than the, of course, wonderful woman in your 8-week trial, like another like, wow, I'm doing what I need to be doing.
Oh, I mean, there's quite a few. She's my rock star.
That's a good one.
The
Yeah,
one with the
that's
RV.
yeah.
That's the one I like to tell the most. But really, it's
because it's like, wow, that's
yeah,
amazing.
and it's life changing what she's done with this process.
And she's going to be coming out of a corporate atmosphere, right?
Yes, she works
probably badass,
a very high end job, and so she's going to be able to transition to something that is going to
Simple
feed
happiness.
her. Yeah, exactly. But no, I think the biggest takeaway for the majority of the clients is that they didn't realize it was possible until I presented them with their options. So it's a 5-step process that just guides them to get past things that they think they have to live with. And once they realize that, it's kind of like
why didn't
fireworks
anybody
go
tell
out.
me this? Yeah.
And they're like, why didn't I do this years ago? What was holding me back? And one of my other clients, she is a teacher and she has been working weekends for as long as she can remember, ever since she started being a teacher. And she thought that she had to do that in order to be organized as a teacher. But she's not getting paid extra to work weekends, right? She's doing it on her own time. And so we developed kind of like a schedule and a way for her to be home with her own family because she's got kids, she's got family. And that was a really big success story just because now she's able to actually enjoy her life instead of working to the bone.
Like true work-life balance.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you have people come to you and you look at them and you're like, no, don't like, no, that's not healthy. Like, don't. That's really great. And I shout out to all teachers. We love teachers.
Yes, definitely.
I love all the teachers. So what's some of your, I mean, what are some of your big dreams from this? Like, I know you want to do college workshops and things like that, but like, what is your ultimate goal? Like the big vision that keeps you going, your why, like what's getting you to your next day?
So I think one of the reasons my client with the RV resonates so much with me is because that is one of my goals as well, is to be able to live in an RV and travel, literally be traveling 6 months out of the year and then have a permanent resident back in Michigan. I'm from Michigan.
Okay.
And so that's my goal, is to be able to travel and have that freedom. And that's why I knew I was never going to be able to work a 9-to-5, is because I need that freedom in my life. So I want to be able to travel, experience the world. I really want to bring the book to Europe, which is more of an immediate goal. So that's kind of in the works still, which is really exciting and terrifying.
Yes, that's a good thing to know.
But yeah, it's exciting to realize what my clients have succeeded with. Because then I'm like, how am I supposed to let myself be held back?
Yeah.
Like if they can do something like that,
I'm
like
getting them there. How am I not going to?
So I'm like, okay, Laura, read your book and actually do it now.
I gave you your own step by step. This is your words.
Exactly.
What did you travel a lot? Have you traveled a lot? What gave you that kind of motivation to do that?
Surprisingly, I never really traveled as a kid. I grew up in Michigan and I was there until after high school, took some time off, came down to Florida for school, and I've been here ever since. So besides little family trips, I really haven't traveled much. I've been to both the West and East Coast, but I haven't been out of the U.S. So that's one of the reasons why going to Europe is just so terrifying. But
get out of your
exciting.
comfort zone, but you know that's where growth happens.
Exactly.
That's really cool. I love that. You're like, I'm going to be in an RV. I don't really travel, but I'm going to be that.
I'm going to try it out at least for a year.
People I know that do that. And in my head, I'm like, what is going on? But then I'm like, wow, to be able to just have that freedom and just kind of take in every environment that you're in is pretty awesome.
It's going to be great.
So we love your client or friend who's going to do that soon from her company. So from the coaching aspect, what's your type of kind of workload? Like, how are you able to do work-life balance? What have you set? I don't know if it's going into your book of the 5 steps because I don't know it yet, but I will know it soon. But I'm saying, like, how were you able to maintain this? Did you have a time where you realized you weren't focused on yourself enough?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Definitely. I am one of those people who almost thrives on burnout sometimes. Oh, yeah.
I know a lot of those people. You're just like, I'm exhausted. I'm never going to get out of here.
Exactly. And so I try to do what I call hashtag me time. So I do me time every single morning. I get up bright and early, like 5:30 a.m. And I try to spend at least an hour, if not two, doing whatever I want for myself. So if that's reading or writing or working out, whatever it is, I just try to get that done first. Because otherwise, if I start working right away, I'm going to say, well, when can I go do all the fun stuff? And that's all I'm going to be able to think about.
Yeah.
So if I get that done first, then I'm able to kind of figure out the rest of the day and how I can get my work done.
So as you kind of evolved into where you're at, did new me time ideas come about? Like for me, reading is one of my like go-tos now. I'm 34 years old. Like, I mean, of course I read, but I'm saying like real good books that are just like good for my heart and soul. So that's like my me time now, where before was like waking up doing my workout at 5:30 was my me, which is still there. But like I found like over the years, like the new things that like feed my soul. Did you find that out like as you went?
I definitely dived more into the books. I had a goal to read 50 books this year, and I actually just hit that yesterday. So now I'm going to try to go for 60. This does include audiobooks.
Was it starting in January? Oh yeah. Audiobooks have saved my life. Like when you're on a drive for an hour.
Oh yeah. Driving here, the 30-minute drive to get here. I'm like,
welcome.
Yes, I can listen to my audiobook. It's the best part of the day.
And then I'm like, why didn't I do this before? Instead I'm listening to shitty radio music. And I'm like, well, what is going on?
Exactly.
And you have this song in your head the rest of the day. I am totally like that. I don't know if it's like stages of life where that changes, but I'm like, I need to teach my daughter and son this early.
Yeah.
Because it just, I don't know, the words just like fill me up. And totally audiobooks too. I do it all the time.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize my car had a CD player until recently. I had a CD audiobook and I didn't have it on my phone. I was like, oh, you need this. I didn't even know these things were here still. That's awesome. Okay. So you still fit in health. So you do your gym plans, but you don't get hard on yourself if you miss it, if you're working on something.
Yes. I'm also the type of person where if I don't have a goal to achieve within my health and fitness, I'll be like, all right, Netflix, we're just going to hang out all afternoon.
Wonderful.
So if I don't have a goal, it's not going to happen. So I actually just did a half marathon yesterday. So that was my goal that I had. And now today is like, what am I going to do next?
I mean, like you ran a half marathon yesterday?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm not going to compare anything I've done. I was able to sleep 7 hours last night.
I'm jealous. I didn't sleep that much. So you're winning.
That's part of your health too. You just did a half marathon. Where was it?
I just did it myself. So I wanted to do
Wait, what?
Yeah. So
oh my gosh, amazing.
So my New Year's resolutions, I make sure that they're for me and they're not for anybody else. And so running a half marathon had been on my New Year's resolution list for years. And I had even started training for it like 4 or 5 different times. And this year I was writing my book and I was like, okay, I have to have mind space. And so running, obviously you're going to be with yourself or an audiobook. And so I just made the goal, hey, I'm going to run a half marathon and I'm going to run it right after I'm done with my book. And so I just ran through my neighborhood yesterday and I completed my half marathon.
Okay, so 3 weeks ago you finished your book. You ran a half marathon. It's almost the end of the year.
Yeah.
I'd feel pretty awesome.
If
I could just get that done right now. This interview is about how shitty I feel right now.
I'm sorry.
I'm just kidding.
No.
That's amazing. I do like that though. It's like you should be competing against yourself every day. And people don't realize like you have no one else to prove to except yourself. So you just totally prove that. And you're like, hey, I'm just going to run a half marathon. And you gave yourself the sponsorship money. So you gave yourself the $30 for that t-shirt you would usually get or whatever the hell you get.
Right.
And you just ran your half marathon. That's insane and awesome. What was your time?
It was 2 hours and 18 minutes. So it was like a little over a 10-minute mile, something like that. Yeah.
Okay. That's awesome.
I was shooting for under 2.5. So I made my goal, but I wasn't trying to be like a crazy fast runner.
I think that's awesome. How good do you feel though?
Oh, I feel really, really good. And something you said actually just triggered something. You said competing against yourself. And I actually just spoke about this at an event the other day about how like you're the marathon runner and you're in the Olympics and you get second place. And you're like, oh my God, I made second place in the Olympics. I'm the second in the world, right? And then your coach says, well, next year you're going to be first. Okay, so then the next year you run and you train even harder and you do all this extra work. And then you get to the Olympics and you get first. You win. You're first place in the world. And then your coach says, okay, now beat your time. And that can actually be a detriment for a lot of people because you're competing with yourself over and over and over again. And it's not in my book, but I do use that with my clients a lot.
Could
to
be worse
teach
than
them.
competing against someone else.
Right. Yeah. And so like I compete against myself, but I always can try to compete in different categories. So reading so many books a year, doing a half marathon, those are both really great
You
goals.
give yourself
but
the
they're
goals,
not,
but separate.
Yeah, they're not against each other.
So that I'm more like, be better than you were yesterday with the competing thing.
Right.
But I totally get that.
Yeah.
And I never really saw it like that, where you could be putting more pressure on yourself by trying to compete against yourself. And you're like, wait, this is extra stress. I didn't need. Why am I doing this?
Yeah.
And I love that triggered something. That's a perfect point. Because it's true. I like how you do separate goals so that you can hit each one and not put too much pressure on it. So you've turned your passion into a revenue stream for yourself, which is hard.
Yes.
Is there any advice for people who do that? I think it's a lot of pressure.
Yes, it's a lot of pressure. I would say be patient. And I mean, I knew I wanted to create this business a year ago, and I only just launched it full time in May. So I was working on it long before I went full time, and I'm glad I did it when I did. But at the same time, it's like, if you have the ability to do both, do it as long as you can, because that patience is going to teach you so much. And so it's not easy. It's not easy.
I think that's super important for just coaches in general, to show people that every day you're growing. And you're learning something new, because that's what they're going to be doing.
Right.
So I love that. So let's go over everything so everybody knows where to find you.
Okay.
Let's go over where the book is and all that fun stuff. Handles and all your website, whatever. Go ahead, do your thing.
Okay. So Facebook, I have my private Laura Juntunen. My page is Living Live with Laura J Live. Instagram.com/Laura J Live. And then through that Instagram, you can get to link to my book, which is on Amazon. So you can search Happiless Chokelist on Amazon. It'll turn up there. My website is also through that link on Instagram, laurajlive.com. So Laura J Live everything.
Do you do videos and stuff?
I do have a YouTube channel.
Cool.
That link is also in my Instagram.
Yeah, I feel like Laura J Live's like kind of like video stuff too.
Yeah, so I do live videos on Facebook a lot, and then those will always be on my YouTube channel as well. That way you can do whichever one you prefer. Yeah.
Do you not let social media get to you too much?
I try to limit myself. So I used to just run down the rabbit hole, go for hours at a time. But now if I'm on Instagram, I'm like, okay, I have an hour to do all work stuff, and then I'm done for the day. And then I'll like go back on in the evening if I want to. I think that's huge for mental health too. Yeah, limiting yourself and not giving too much pressure either. Because especially if you're a coach or someone who uses Instagram as a business tool, don't try to pressure yourself and just limit that time. If you don't get to all the messages, go back to them tomorrow. Yeah. You'll get there. Yeah.
Yeah. That's good that you can keep that discipline. So Happiless Chokelist, I'll be giving my review, since I'm now a book review person. I'm not, but I like to read books now. I love this. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for joining us. You'll find Laura on the Not a Great Whisperer Instagram. Also at The Real Krey, Krey. We are at katyray.com to find all of our podcast episodes on Spotify, iHeart, and Apple. Laura has joined us today. She's amazing and wonderful. And if you need any help with coaching or just kind of organizing your life, I feel like a little bit, breaking through the barriers is your thing. And I love it. Definitely reach out to her. Thank you for joining. This was awesome.
This was fun. Thank you so much. Yes, had a great time.
And Morty's Music will sign you out. Thanks again. Bye.